The following is a sponsored program. High Desert Broadcasting is not responsible for the views or claims expressed in this program.
Welcome to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380.
Today is Friday.
Woo! Yes.
Yes.
We're going to have a guest on the show. We're going to have a couple of people on the show.
Yes, we are.
In a couple of minutes, we are going to have Darren Parker on the show. A lot of people in the Antelope Valley know who he is. If you don't, he is a special assistant to Assembly Speaker Perez.
Wow.
He ran for California State Senate against Sharon Runner. Very involved with the Democratic Party for Los Angeles.
Don't stutter on Democratic.
Oh.
So he'll be here in a minute. Then at 8:30, we've got a new segment that's going to happen from now on every Friday at 8:30 after the 8:30 break. And it's called Stein Time, and we're going to have Michael Stein on live.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's
I'm
going to be
telling
a
you,
lot
if you
of
have
fun.
a business,
Oh, he's got the
gotta listen to
Midas
this
touch.
man.
Well, yeah, but you know what else? Michael's a big fan of basketball. Loves the Lakers.
Oh, my God.
I got to talk to him about that because the Lakers just cut
Meta.
World Peace.
Well, I'll be.
I mean, can we call him what his mother named him?
I got a book.
That's the name he wants.
Give me a break. He's a nutcase.
Well, that's the name that he wants.
Sports.
It's amazing that you can have that kind of money and not a good therapist to kind of clean your clock.
Well,
I don't know how much you can fix sometimes.
Meta World Peace or Mega? What's his name?
Meta.
M-E-T-A.
Lord have mercy.
Meta World Peace. It looks like
World.
It looks like the jury will get the Zimmerman trial today.
Oh.
Yeah.
It looks like that's going to happen today. That's interesting because I've looked at some recent polls
Yeah.
as of today, and it's kind of interesting how the polls are a little bit skewed.
How so?
It's because they've changed. This is going to be, this morning, George Zimmerman's attorney
Okay.
made a comment that for George Zimmerman, he has a no-win because if he is acquitted, if he's found guilty, he's going to prison.
Yeah.
If he's acquitted, he has to hide in seclusion.
Well, he's only going to be slightly
like
more popular
Casey
than
Anthony.
Yeah. He's only going to be slightly
I
better
think
off
it's going to
than
be
her.
worse than Casey, honestly.
You think?
I hope so. If that man walks, it better be worse than Casey. His existence going forward as a free man. Okay.
Versus somebody that murdered her baby because she was an inconvenience
Yeah, for me, yeah.
because she couldn't party.
Yeah. You asked me, I'll tell
Okay,
you.
well, I'm just trying to wrap my brain around it.
Okay, wrap it.
Well, that's okay. Darren just got in, so he's getting set up now.
Not to say what he did wasn't bad and wasn't wrong, but I don't know. Murder your baby and wrap her in duct tape and leave her in the trunk of your car to rot.
Well, stalking a perfectly innocent individual walking the street, going back home to his father's house is pretty intensive.
yeah,
okay,
I mean, you
I'm not
attacked
gonna-
your
I'm
own
not-
child, and I get that. I'm not trying to downplay what she did at all. But you can't walk around Mr. Zimmerman. You can't walk around him potentially.
Welcome, sir, to the rat hole.
You can chime in at any time.
Darren, let me welcome you to the show.
Good morning, everyone.
How are you?
I'm wonderful, blessed.
I gave you an introduction before you got here.
Well, thank you.
And I think at Wednesday night's Palmdale City Council meeting, did I see you there?
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I couldn't. I was sitting in the back of the room with Sheriff's Department Don Ford,
Okay.
and I couldn't get up to get your attention and say hello.
Well, I appreciate even the thought, so thank you.
Yeah. We were just talking about, and feel free to chime in, we were talking about the Zimmerman trial in Florida.
Right.
And that it looks like the jury will get instructions and get the case today and go into deliberations.
Yeah.
I saw a poll this morning.
Okay.
All right? I saw a poll.
On Fox?
Oh,
No,
There we
actually,
go.
I'm just asking.
Here we go.
I'm just trying to get some information. That's all.
you know what? Okay. No, actually, it was from Ohio.
Show.
He's under no obligation to reveal these sources.
It actually was a poll done by the Ohio State University.
Okay.
Okay. And it was interesting because what the poll showed was originally there were more people. Originally, before the trial began, there were about 37% of Americans felt George Zimmerman was guilty.
37.
37% before the trial began.
Okay.
Okay. After the first week of the trial, it dropped down to 24%
Okay.
of Americans, which is kind of interesting because everyone that I talk to feels that he's guilty. However, the doubt, he doesn't really have the burden of proof.
No.
It really
Right.
comes down to the prosecution.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay? It really does. Darren, what do you think about what's going on in Florida?
I think it's a tragedy that we lost a young life. I think that no matter what the outcome is, that lives will be changed forever, and that they're going to have to look at the laws of carrying a gun and using a gun in Florida as we know it today. It's just a tragedy, and we hope that through all of this that the community learns that we need to accept people and not react to individuals that we are afraid of.
Amen.
Okay. You know what?
I don't think anybody
no.
The thing for me is that the prosecution didn't prove the case that they presented. You know what I mean? And I talked about this before. And it's a shame that there's not a law on the books for making this type of error. Because that's really, in essence, what it was. Did he wake up that morning saying, I need to go kill a boy? Did he even go down the street intending on killing this young man? No, he didn't. But in his head, he had a picture of what a criminal looked like, and that was Trayvon that night. And for that alone, he should not get to go home. Now, did he intend it? No. I could care less who was on top and who wasn't. I really could care less. The man lost his life because he had some Skittles and a juice in his hand. Give me a break. And then the way the prosecution breaks it down by means of how Zimmerman was able to pull out his gun, it really doesn't make sense. If he's straddling him the way that they've indicated, he can't pull anything from the back or his side. He had to have had that gun a little bit more readily available. Having said all that, he should not be able to go home after you shouldn't just take a life and go home.
I understand that. But the flip side is, if he took a life and it was in self-defense.
It wouldn't have been in self-defense if you'd have mind your business.
I understand. I understand. I get it. And you think he went after Trayvon? If Trayvon had been white, walking down the street,
I think that he could have done the same thing. I think in his head, he could take him. In his head, I got this gun and I can take this one. I could take, because I bet you if it was a big burly guy, he probably wouldn't have stalked him. But I'm assuming, obviously, like everyone else. But I really don't think that he would have approached him if he thought that he couldn't have taken him.
Okay. I
can kind of. Be like, I'm
I can
getting
agree
my
with
car
you.
back here.
Okay.
Y'all go get him now. That's what he would have done.
What was Britney Spears' ex-husband? What was his name? Kevin Federline. He was walking down the street.
Yeah, he
I think he
would
would've got
have
after
He
him,
would have
too.
tried to get him.
Yeah.
You think so?
I don't know why he came to his mind.
Well, that's just my image of a thuggy-looking white guy.
Wow.
He looks like a jerk. And
Someone that's got swag. Okay.
Okay. All right, in a second we have to take a break. But Darren, I want to talk about Steve Fox. I want to talk about the Democrat Party in the Antelope Valley.
Okay.
As soon as we come back from a break. And then I also have to mention, Rex Perez asked me to tell you that he's in the studio next to me. And before you leave the building, walk over and say hello.
Is he at Lillian Station?
He is.
Okay.
Yeah, he is. So
Okay.
before you leave us, and make sure you go over there, we're going to take a break for a minute. You're listening to the #1 news talk radio program in the Antelope Valley, AVNewsCast, and we'll be right back.
AVNewsCast.com comes to News Talk 1380 every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning from 8 to 9. Discover what's news in the Antelope Valley.
This isn't your grandpa's talk radio.
It sure isn't. We're going to be live, edgy, and we're not going to pull any punches. Hi, this is Steve Benson from AVNewsCast.com. Join me and my co-host Jeff Sheldon live on News Talk 1380 every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning from 8 to 9. We're taking all the technology from AVNewsCast.com and bringing it to News Talk Radio 1380. You can catch us on the radio and you can watch our live video stream on your computer or smartphone. So call in and let's talk about what's affecting you in the Antelope Valley.
Hi, folks. I'm Chuck Simons, a realtor with Keller Williams. Are you finding yourself buried in your house payment, completely stressed out and don't know what to do? Please listen to what I'm about to tell you. First, understand that you are not the only one that's having problems. Many folks in the Antelope Valley are going through the same thing. What's most important right now is that you take control. Just because you've been turned down for a loan modification or received a notice of default doesn't mean you can't be in control. You own the property still. You can be in control, and I can help. I know how stressful it is. I know what it is to be in the dark on this. I've helped a lot of people in the Antelope Valley, but you have to take action. Call me, Chuck Simons, at 661-350-1006. I want to help you. My team and I will meet with you for free, and we'll go over your options. Don't just sit back, bury your head, and lose your house to foreclosure. I can help you, but you have to call. 661-350-1006. Together, we'll draw up a roadmap to relieving the stress. Just because you're not able to make the payments on your house doesn't mean you don't have options. You do. I can and I will help you negotiate a short sale with your bank. I'll explain all the benefits and how you can rebuild your credit. Call me, Chuck Simons, at 661-350-1006. Let's solve your problems together today.
Go into the song and dance.
Welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380.
Hey, Darren, let me ask you a question. So Steve Fox was elected to the state assembly.
Correct.
First time a Democrat has been able to grab that seat in 30-some years, 34, I think.
30, I think we said 35 years, 36 years at least.
Okay,
Since
30-some.
Long time.
Yeah, long
All right.
time.
In his first year in office, report card, how would you rate him?
Well, I think that Steve is doing a stellar job. I think compared to our last assemblyman, he's 100% better than in receiving information from the public, his constituency, and he's working at making sure that we get things back here in the valley that we've lost.
He is working hard.
Yes, he is.
He brought the Antelope Valley back into kind of a retooled enterprise zone.
Semi-enterprise zone.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, semi is better than
Better than
nothing.
none. Oh, that's for
Okay.
sure.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to diminish it.
You know, which is a good thing. He's doing a lot for education. He's working hard to try to establish a university here. He wants to bring jobs. He's working with the drone project here.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, he is doing a lot. There's no question about it.
I agree.
And I know Assembly Speaker Perez wants him to hold on to that seat.
Yes, the speaker is committed to make sure that Steve does a great job in giving him all the resources that he needs to be successful here in the Antelope Valley. It is a change in the dynamics that we've had here over the last 30 years, and because of that, the speaker is truly committed to making sure that Assemblyman Fox is successful.
I had been told that even on a national level, the Democrats on a national level were looking at the Antelope Valley, and they were very happy that they were able to capture that seat. That it was not just local.
Well, no, it's definitely national. We're looking at all the seats upward in the state level, including the Senate. We know that we've targeted the DSCCC has targeted the congressional seat of Buck McKeon. The demographics here in the Antelope Valley have changed, and I think that it's time that the leadership reflects the community that they serve.
Now, Lee Rogers recently said that he is going to run again for Buck McKeon's seat.
Yes, he is.
I met Lee. I thought he was a great guy.
Yeah, he is.
He came to our forum, our candidate forum, and spoke there. A lot of people liked him. He's going to run again. What do you think his chances are of defeating Buck McKeon?
Well, I don't think, the word on the street is that Buck is going to be going into retirement or not run for this seat. So, and regardless of that, Lee is going to run. I think that Lee would make an excellent congressman for this area. He's in touch with the people. He's in touch with the community. And I think that it's time that we have some change here in the Antelope Valley.
Okay, talking about change in the Antelope Valley. Let's talk about the Department of Justice findings in the Antelope Valley that the LASD operated, and I'm going to say they profiled.
Yeah, you can say that.
I'm just going to say that they profiled.
Yeah, that'd be a good thing.
Whether it was a traffic stop, whether it was a Section 8 recipient. Talk to me about that.
Well, the DOJ decision and their findings in their investigation actually came from a report that started internally in the Sheriff's Department. And the Sheriff's Department, the Merritt Bob report, was the one that actually was the impetus for us to send that to the Justice Department to look into what was going on here in the Antelope Valley. We knew with the rapid growth that there were changes. We knew that we recruited a lot of deputies. And unfortunately, some of those deputies took their authority to a level that is not acceptable to the public. And the Justice Department just confirmed what we knew 2 years before, or affirmed what we knew 2 years before, that individuals were being stopped based on what they look like as opposed to actually breaking the law.
Now, I know that you've got a relationship with Sheriff Lee Baca.
Yes, I do. Personally.
Right? Personally.
Mm-hmm.
So you pick up the phone and you say, "Hey, Lee, you know what's going on up here?"
I did that.
Yeah.
And again, it's a culture. Lee is one person, and we try to go to the sheriff to oversee everything throughout L.A. County, but you have 8 million residents in L.A. County. You have 80-plus cities that the sheriff has some jurisdiction in. And I don't think that this was a culture that started at the top. This was a culture because of we're so isolated from L.A. proper that was able to form and move forward in this community in such a way that we haven't seen in any other community since the LAPD had their dissent decree.
That's a point I wanted to make because we've talked about this on the show before, that yes, Lee Baca is the sheriff of L.A. County, but one guy cannot have his finger on everything 100% of the time.
You can barely have your finger on both your kids.
Right. It's true.
No, it is.
Okay?
So, totally.
Right.
And I really don't think that, these sheriffs that we're talking about leave home every day with this preconceived after whatever it is. It's just it's something that's inculcated once they
part of the culture.
Yeah, and it's unbeknownst to them in some cases, in my opinion, and it becomes a normalcy. But I really I find it insulting that there's people that are denying it.
Okay, I say often, I like the phrase "one planet, one people." Okay. I say that often. Okay, down the street from me in Quartz Hill. From my house in Quartz Hill, I had a neighbor every day that would raise his Confederate flag.
Yeah.
Okay. I had somebody tell me the other day I was stopped in Quartz Hill, and this guy had a giant Confederate flag on the back of his truck.
I saw it coming in.
Are we, in some respects, way behind the times, Darren?
There are still pockets here in the Antelope Valley that have that culture of the Confederacy, that have that culture of the Klan, that have that culture of the skinhead mentality. But we've grown. I've been here almost 3 decades, almost 30 years. And I remember when I first came here being pulled over by the deputies every day that I came home. Now we have a sheriff's department that is more like the community that we live in, but it does not mimic the cultures that are here. And what I'm trying to say is that being here for 30 years, I've seen a lot of things. And we can't blame any individual act of a deputy on the sheriff. We can talk about the culture that we've grown into because we've been a robust, growing cities here in the Antelope Valley. And so that culture was created. I'm not sure where it came from, but the culture was created out of our growth. And because there was no one here to actually put a hand on it and say, you know what, we need to be more diverse as we embrace the criminal activity here in the Antelope Valley and commit to community policing. And so what was created was a fear of people that did not look like me.
Right. They were afraid.
They were afraid.
Yeah.
They didn't know what it was going to mean to live around so much diversity.
Correct. And here in the Antelope Valley, with the rapid growth of the two cities, you didn't know who your neighbor was. And when you moved into a neighborhood, not until the houses were built did you know who your neighbor was. And thus, we created probably the most diverse cities in the state of California. And I think we brag on that fact, that Lancaster and Palmdale are probably the most diverse cities in the state of California. But in that same fashion, what we did was recruit individuals here from the Antelope Valley who had that cowboy mentality. And for things that they don't know, they fear. That's human nature, and things that we fear, we hate. So we had to make sure that we drew the line in the sand and let them know that law enforcement is to serve the people of each community, no matter what they look like.
Okay, all right. There's been a lawsuit brought against the city of Palmdale,
Yes.
a voters' lawsuit, to try to compel them to have districting in the city of Palmdale.
Correct.
When it comes to elections for city council.
Correct.
Same lawsuit has been brought by the same law firm in Santa Clarita on 3 different instances.
Correct.
Okay, in the last. What are your thoughts on districting?
Well, I was part of the lawsuit. I actually served as the expert witness for the plaintiffs. We went to the city of Palmdale before the lawsuit, and we asked them to consider making a change, and Palmdale basically blew us off. And so that's why the lawsuit was done. It is clear that in the city of Palmdale that the minority majority is 70% or better of the population, but yet we've never had anyone of color elected. Lancaster is similar, but the difference between Lancaster and Palmdale is that Lancaster was receptive to our conversations of moving forward into districting to try to make a more equitable representation of the leadership.
Right. Well, in Palmdale, for instance, even before the lawsuit was brought on, okay, Fred threw his hat in the ring,
Right.
okay, and said he's running for city council. I think he's got a really good chance.
And we have had.
I support him 100%.
In the past, there has been. It hasn't just been absolutely white.
No.
Throughout the history of Palmdale.
No. Richard
the council
Loa?
has. The
Yeah.
council, I mean, other than Richard Loa, there's been no one of color and very few women that have done the role of leadership in Palmdale.
How many has tried to run now?
Every year, the 20 years that I've been here actively in politics, we've tried to recruit and run a candidate in every election. Again, I think that the problem with the at-large election system is that, taking Fred's case, I think that Fred would be great in a district. He would win hands down no matter who he ran against if he ran in his area because the people of his community know him. But take that same race and put it at an at-large election, then Fred maybe won't win.
Well, we were just talking about the diversity and having each neighborhood being a melting pot.
It is.
And then how is redistricting work? Because there's no enclaves then.
Well,
if everything is completely diverse, districting would work with the enclaves, which if we don't have that, then how is that going to affect?
We talk about diversity here in the Antelope Valley. We have diversity as it has to do with the population. As it has to do with the voting population, there's a little different. What we have is a huge block of votes that come in, about 5,000 votes that could decide any race from mayor to city council that come in that is a block vote. And it doesn't matter if you were on the east side of Palmdale or the west side of Palmdale, that block vote decides who gets to sit in that seat. And that's the real issue. It's the block vote. So we're not breaking it up into districts so we have a Latino district and an African American district. What we're doing is saying in this area on the east side, let's take that as one of the districts, that someone from that area will truly represent and have ownership of what happens in his own neighborhood as opposed to someone who is from the west side that has no idea what's going on the
That makes
east side.
sense.
Is it that big an area that there's that much difference between, like
huge.
47th East and Tierra Sabita over here?
As we sit at this studio, the difference is east of where we are and west of where we are tremendously different.
Is.
If you go west of us right now, you will find shopping centers, you will find commerce, you will find business growth. You go east of here, you're going to end up with dirt road.
Well, you've got the Super Target over there on 47th.
That's a long way down.
But that's the area we're talking about. 47th East is that same area.
But it's more going on the west side.
But it doesn't
outside
make
of the mall, there's still.
But it doesn't make any difference what city you're in. If you just a straight line from this studio, and you look at east side and west side in either city, it doesn't make a difference. It's the same thing.
It is.
Okay.
The housing market was a good indicator. I bought my house on the west side, cost me $300,000. The exact same house on the east side will cost you $150,000 less.
But it's the same way in LA.
Yeah.
Well, in some respects, I think that LA has been broken into districts for that very reason, to make sure that those individuals from that, let's take the east side of town, have some say-so in what happens in their own community. And I think that when individuals step forward in leadership roles in their community, it is obvious. Fred Thompson, professor at the college, active on the school boards, active in his community. If Fred ran in a district, Fred would win hands down. It doesn't matter what color you are, because Fred has been an activist in his community. People know Fred. When they go to the market, they know Fred. When they walk down the street, they know Fred. Take Fred in that one area versus 4 other districts in the city, they don't know Fred. And so those 4 districts control what happens where Fred lives. And what we're trying to do is bring ownership back to local individuals who are committed to the success of their community. So it's not about race, it's about ownership, it's about bringing everyone's voice to the table, because the needs on the east side are tremendously different, even on Palmdale Boulevard, than the west side.
Yeah. That makes sense.
No, I get all
that.
So
really
if we do go through with this redistricting thing, then there is an obligation then to pull a candidate from that area then?
Yeah, it makes
to
sense.
go?
within each district.
Yeah.
So
that's how it will work. That's exactly how it's going.
What if we can't find somebody qualified and
you can't
say it's all idiots on the west side?
It wouldn't be the west side.
Well, if they're all idiots on the west side, then you're going to lose 4 of your council people, because all of them live on the west side.
That was good.
Okay. We've got to take a break. Darren, will you stick with us? At 8:30, we're trying something new, and it's actually called Stein Time, and it starts right after on the other side of this break.
Okay.
Are you a sports fan?
That too.
Okay, good. So stick around.
All
Okay,
right.
We're going to take a break. You're listening to the #1 news talk radio program in the Antelope Valley, AVNewsCast, and we'll be right back.
During the summer, when kids are out of school, the likelihood of misuse or abuse of drugs or alcohol increase. Parents, encourage your children to spend more of their leisure time playing sports, camping, fishing, or family outings. Remember, strong parental support and strong spiritual belief will help win the battle against drugs in our community. That's from Rich Meyer Landscaping at 652 West Avenue L14 in Lancaster. They're always working to keep our community moving in a positive direction. Mention this ad for 50% off any seasonal service.
There's a school in Palmdale that's become the talk of the town. It's called the Guidance Charter School, and many parents say it's magical. The Guidance Charter School is WASC certified, scored 783 in academic performance, and has an educational curriculum that exceeds what the state of California recommends. The curriculum is enriched through age-appropriate exposure for information technology, arts, foreign language such as Arabic, and physical education. The Guidance Charter School is now going to have a full CIF sports program with soccer, basketball, track, cheerleading, and more. They're an open enrollment school, publicly funded, and have been in business for 12 years. Fully approved by Palmdale School District. The Guidance Charter School has small class sizes such as 20 students in grades K through 3, 25 in 4 through 8, and just 30 students in grades 9 through 12. Call the Guidance Charter School in Palmdale today at 661-272-1701. That's the Guidance Charter School in Palmdale, 661-272-1701. And check out their website at thegcs.org. A better high school choice.
I need to archive emails to comply with business regulations.
Do you have an IT guy to help search through thousands of PSD files?
No.
Got time to install a complicated product or create detailed reports?
No.
You okay paying storage fees to save duplicate emails and images?
No.
Offshore automated phone tree support okay?
No.
Then yes, we can help.
The Barracuda Message Archiver lets you store and find emails fast to avoid compliance and litigation penalties. Easy setup and single instance storage will save you time and money. And if you need help, you'll talk to a live human. Try the Barracuda Message Archiver free. Go to barracuda.com/yes.
Get the best out of the rest of your golf season at Golfsmith's annual clearance sale. Hurry in to score some of the hottest gear of the season for the lowest prices of the year. Save up to 60% on select Nike men's and women's apparel. Plus, get huge savings on great gear like Adams drivers, Titleist iron sets, Cleveland wedges, and GPS watches from Bushnell. Before you go out there, get the season's best savings in here. Only at Golfsmith's clearance sale.
Hello again. This is Bob Alvis of AV Veterans Talk here on News Talk 1380. When you hear this,
Mustang 6 Golf Foxtrot cleared for takeoff.
That means you're getting ready to fly. And that's just what we do every Friday from 11 a.m. till noon, right between Dennis Miller and Sean Hannity. Each week, we fly right into the subjects that are important to our Valley's veterans and pay tribute to those who have served and sacrificed on behalf of our country. So tune in and join our formation. Check us out on Facebook at AV Veterans or call us at 266-4420. So for now, it's Wheels Up and Blue Skies. Bob out.
And welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380.
Hey, can we bring Michael on the show?
Michael!
Michael, are you there?
I'm here. How's Palmdale doing today?
Well, you know what? The whole Antelope Valley is doing great. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah.
This is the first time we're doing our segment called Stein Time.
Stein Time.
Michael Stein is joining us, and he is calling in from Austin, Texas. How are things in Austin?
Yeah.
I actually live 20 minutes outside Austin in a wonderful little town called Georgetown. And, it's kind of like... there's no difference than Calabasas or Agoura. Basically, just a little more in August.
Okay. You know what? I'm a sports fan. Darren's a sports fan. I'm going to talk about sports because the Lakers cut Meta World Peace.
Jesus.
Okay.
And they give the amnesty. It makes sense. It's going to save money. I'm sure we're going to talk about business also. We're going to intertwine our business with our sports, right? Well, that's the way to save money, and it was a smart move. He's on he's near the end of his career, and they had to do it. They're going to save $30 million with the tax on that. I think it was a good thing.
Okay,
well, he was way beyond the salary cap, wasn't he? And they're paying fines on that.
Yeah, he was a little over $7 million, and then the fines, as of the new that they made last year, they equal about a $30 million savings. They had to do it.
Makes sense to me.
And they got rid of Dwight, which was a good thing. I think Dwight, he's a good player. He's going to Houston. It's a better fit. I'm a little upset that Jim Buss got him in the first place and let him go. I think Jeannie Buss probably wouldn't have had that problem, but I think it was a good thing. They're just going to, downsize and get ready for 2014. They're going to, save all their money, so they're going to have like an excess of $50 million in cap, and they're going to be able to hopefully maybe go after LeBron James if he doesn't go back to Cleveland, or if the Heat win the championship next year, he's probably going to stay with them.
Okay, talking about small business, Michael, you own and operate one of the largest small independent businesses in the city of Palmdale. What's the biggest mistake? I'll tell you what I hear from small business owners, albeit Palmdale, Lancaster, at Chamber of Commerce events. The economy is not picking up enough. They need to reach out and get more business, more customers, especially if they have a brick-and-mortar business. And the first thing that I see that a small business does when the business slows down is they cut their advertising budget.
Yeah, well, that advertising is the lifeblood of Engine. It's like you can't ever compromise your advertising. That's kind of like you have to be. If the advertising is working, and it's working, you're making money. So it's never compromise your advertising. Unfortunately, sometimes you got to downsize. That's something to do. But you never, if all ad is working, any type of mode of advertising is working, that's turning a small profit, never get rid of it.
So eat those ramen noodles and keep that advertising going. Huh?
That's right. Yeah, I mean, you got to do anything you got to do. You cut down on your office supplies, cut down on, sometimes you got to, furlough people here and there to help to make sure the bigger picture is to keep all your employees for the long haul. But you lose a battle, win the war, but you can never compromise your advertising because that's like putting oil in your engine.
Right, but unfortunately, it's the first area that a small business owner cuts, and I hear it from a lot of people.
It's a rookie mistake. They should never compromise your advertising, in my opinion.
Right.
If it's turning a small profit and you know how to do the analytics of your advertising, you never compromise it.
Governor Rick Perez been out campaigning for businesses in California to move to Texas. Governor Rick Perez says,
crazy.
The biggest thing I can say is I don't have to try to get business from California to come to Texas. I'll let Governor Brown just send them over.
Yeah, I'm so sick to death of our California's biggest export now is business. Tired of that.
Yeah. Well, the taxes don't help.
Oh,
Perry's okay. I'm not like a Perry fan, but I'm a fan of the structure that Texas has inherently built, and I'm a fan of California, but I'm not a fan of the infrastructure that that California has pigeonholed. Basically, look, why is Dwight Howard going to Houston? Is he going to save 13%? So is he taking a $30 million pay cut? I don't know about that. Maybe he's getting $88 million now instead of $113 million, but he's going to get 13% back on that, and the cost of living is going to be a lot better. It's all intertwined. I think that we got a big problem in California with not working with the biggest revenue source, the taxes, which is the entrepreneur, is creating a big bulk of the revenue through taxes. Incentivize them, make sure they don't leave California.
Darren, what do you think about California's tax situation? I hear former Senator George Runner talk about it a lot. What do you think about what's going on? Michael, by the way, Darren Parker's sitting with us in studio. He's a special assistant to Assembly Speaker Perez.
Hey, Darren, how you doing?
Wonderful. And yourself?
I'm doing fantastic.
So what is the business that you own here in the Antelope Valley?
We specialize in all types of tents and tarps and covers and expanding into all type of outdoor specialty gear.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Well, we know that the governor and the legislator, and especially the speaker, are working on reforming our tax structure here. First, we had to get out the hole after many years of being in debt, and now that we're on the upward rise and that income is coming back into the state, I think that we'll see some changes and be more business-friendly as we move forward. I know that the speaker has talked about being more business-friendly. He's talked about embracing the middle-class income families and making sure that they have the resources to be successful. And so here in California, I look forward to us moving up. I don't know about Texas. I've never been to Texas. And I'm glad that Dwight is gone.
Really?
We got nothing against Dwight Howard, but let's face it. Don't you think if Jeannie Buss was the head of it? First of all, let's go back to the crossroads of the issue there, and then we'll go back to the taxes. And I'm glad you're working on the job in California because California's got the GDP of the seventh largest, and it'd be like the seventh biggest country in the world, GDP in the world, if they were standing on their own.
Yes, we would be.
As far as Dwight is concerned, because this is a hot topic. Dwight, he's a great player. The system was not meant for him. When we had a chance at Phil Jackson, any Buss would have said, "No, hey, let's get him back." And Jim Buss has got an axe behind, so they got Antoni instead because they wanted to go with the fast-paced offense instead of the slower triangle. Big mistake. And if they would have gotten Phil Jackson, he would have had a better relationship with him. He would have played the triangle, fed the big man in there. He would have been happy. And then the discrepancies with the alpha male thing going on with Kobe would have been okay. This all would have been a different situation.
Well, I truly think that Dwight never fit here in L.A. It was great that he came, but we never saw the flow of the Lakers be as systematic as it's been in the past when he was here. I don't think that he was ever comfortable here in L.A. I think he came here looking to go to someplace else. Everyone wants to be a Laker, without a doubt, in your professional career. but he did not embrace LA as we've seen others that have become Lakers and we've become fans of. Dwight did not take on that status. So, like I said, good luck to him where he moves to Dallas or wherever he goes. I think that the Lakers will do fine. I think that you're absolutely correct. Had it been Jeannie, we would have our wizard back of coaching. But again, I don't think that Dwight was ever really a good fit here in L.A.
Well, self-evident now, I guess, since he left, because true Lakers never leave. He's the only one.
He's the only true. Well, he was never a true Laker.
There it is.
That's it, right there.
He was not a true Laker. So, again, like I said, I think that he will do fine wherever he goes. I think that the Lakers will start to rebuild and start to bring in younger players as they should, and have Kobe be the mentor and help those players to continue our success here in L.A. Dwight was someone that we went after because he was a big name, and like I said, I don't think that he ever really fit here in L.A. I don't even know if he ever unpacked his bags.
I got to tell you, I think it comes down to management. Talk about management for 1 second, right? Look at the Lakers with Jerry Buss, great management, and that seems to change at this point until we see something different. But then look at the Dodgers, okay? Magic Johnson, speaking of, takes over with Peter Guber. They have a whole new team. Yasiel Puig, bring him in, and he's a phenom. They got Fernando Mania with Puig Mania all over again. We got Donald Sterling's now coming around. He's starting to spend a little coin, getting Doc Rivers in here. It's all about management, and I think that it's no joke that Pat Riley, goes over to the Heat, years ago, builds that up, and he's got LeBron now. And I think it starts with the top, and I think that's the Lakers' problem right now. And until something happens, Jim Buss wakes up and goes, "Oh, I better do X, Y, and Z." Or if Jeannie Buss takes over, or unfortunately, hopefully, the Buss family hold on to it. I think the management, it starts there first, and I think that's what's going to improve everything with the Lakers.
I agree 100%. And I like it back when it was Phil Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Well, success leaves clues, right? Failures leave clues. So far, you got tons of success leaving clues in one direction, and then you got Jim Buss leaving a bunch of failures in another direction. So I don't know, it seems logical to me that we should go in the direction of what was working before. We had another chance to have Phil Jackson do a 2-year contract, and then Brian Shaw takes over with the triangle. It's working. I mean, why drop the triangle? It's worked well for, Jackson and all those years. Why not keep on trying it? Don Shula used to say, if something keeps on trying it, if I have a winning play that keeps on working, keep on doing it over and over again until it doesn't work. Because if no one's going to do anything about it, I'm going to keep on doing it.
Mm-hmm. Right. You can apply that same principle to business.
Yeah.
Absolutely. If something's working, like your advertising, as long as it's working, to answer that advertising question, if it's working, you keep on using it over and over again until it doesn't work. And that's it. And you do that with everything in business.
Yep.
If something is working, you collect them like little leaves on the ground to create a big pile of success, and you keep on doing it over and over and over again until it doesn't work, and then you try something else. You don't keep on trying the same thing, but you keep on collecting all the gems that keep on working for you.
I agree. Michael, we've got to take a break, so I got to cut you loose.
Absolutely.
I want to thank you for taking the time to come on. You're going to be on next Friday and every Friday at 8:30, right?
Yep, I'll be here.
Okay.
Sounds good. Sounds like
all right, that's a plan. Thanks for taking the time to come on today.
You got it. Love you guys.
Have a great day.
Take care, Michael.
Bye-bye.
All right, we're taking a quick break. We'll be back in 2 minutes. You're listening to AV Newscast on News Talk Radio 1380.
If you're thinking about getting your backyard in shape for entertaining, there's only one place to shop, and that's Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale. At Abadak Outdoors in Palmdale, you'll save up to 70% off retail every day at our factory warehouse showroom. Abadak has everything you need to get your backyard in shape, like 7.5-foot tall, 41,000 BTU, freestanding LPG patio heaters for just $159.99. How about a fully enclosed backyard gazebo? Fire up that barbecue and enjoy a nice meal inside one of our Mandalay, Trinidad, or Mykonos those freestanding gazebos, just $219.97 every day. If you want wholesale prices, come to Abidak Outdoors in Palmdale. How about backyard shade or car canopies? You can pick a variety of color choices starting at just $129.97. Stop by Abidak Outdoors in Palmdale. We're located at 38940 Trade Center Drive, 1 block east of 10th Street West. The Abidak Factory Showroom is open from 8 to 4 every day. That's Abidak Outdoors at 38940 Trade Center Drive in Palmdale, where you'll save up to 70% off retail every day. Check us out on the web at abidak.com or give us a call at 661-480-1562.
Aging for Life is about you. We'll talk about news you can use, community events, seniors, families, and family members who help care for seniors. We'll talk with professionals in the healthcare industry and the senior community about senior-oriented education and issues. We'll have guests and panel discussions on topics that affect all of us, and we'll open the phones for your questions and input. Aging for Life is about you. 7:30 a.m. Wednesday, right here on News Talk 1380.
Welcome back to AVNewsCast.com on News Talk 1380.
Hey, Darren, let me ask you a question. In our last election, November, there was a big disconnect in the Republican Party. Okay. And you could see it on the national level, and you saw what was happening here in the Antelope Valley. You think they'll be able to recover from that disconnect?
The GOP, I don't think so. I think the GOP has talked about connecting with the people that they serve, but not done a sincere effort in that. And we see that here in the Antelope Valley. And I think that with Assemblymember Fox being elected, that's going to be the start of a change in the demographics and the dynamics here in the Antelope Valley.
I see it a little differently because I think the GOP has connected. They're connected to their people. It's just not a lot of them. Well, and people need to recognize that whole diehard I'm a Republican really doesn't so much apply to them. And the problem is that people are so set in, no, this is what I believe, this is my principle, blah, blah, blah. But the Republican Party as a whole does not necessarily match what your life is and where your next necessary step is. It just doesn't make sense to me.
It doesn't connect here in the Antelope Valley anymore.
Sure don't.
And like I said, the GOP is kind of happy with the people that they have recruited and that are loyal to the GOP. But I think for success in a community, it has to be reflective of those that you serve. So the GOP has not reached out to the Latino community. It has not reached out in any meaningful way to the African American community. And here in the Antelope Valley, we have minority majorities in all of our cities. If you collectively add the minorities together, or what's called minorities, they are the majority population in both the cities, especially in Palmdale, where you have 48% Latino. Mm-hmm. I mean, those things are clear. But the GOP here is the Good Old Boys Club.
Yeah.
And they're not inviting anyone else into the Good Old Boys Club. And that's not going to work here in the Antelope Valley. It's not going to make us successful. It's not going to be able to have Mike be able to talk to us from Texas.
Right.
And have a successful business here in the Antelope Valley. I would hope that they would reach out to the community a little more, and we saw in the last election that they didn't, and that's why Mr. Smith did not win. We saw the Obama bump, but we also saw the Democrats in both the two cities carried our candidate.
But how can they reach out to them when they're not serving any of their interests at all? I mean, it's just obvious. They have nothing to serve. They have nothing to provide. That's just not. They would just want the Latino or a larger number of African Americans simply for the vote. I don't know if you guys saw Hannity. I think it was last weekend. He had a council of African American Republicans, which I thought came from Central Casting, personally. but he actually had them there. And one of the things that struck me was that a lot of these Republicans were talking about traditional values as to why they were Republican. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, why are you looking for a religious connection within your political party? That shouldn't be. If you don't want to have an abortion, then make that choice at home. if you don't want your kids to be single parents, then teach that to your family at home. That shouldn't have it convolutes things. It has nothing to do with your political. In my opinion, it shouldn't have anything to do with your political standing, because what you do in your home is a personal choice.
Right.
And don't dictate that to me.
Right.
So I just Central Casting had a good old time, and it was probably about 5 real ones that they kept letting speak, and then the rest of them was fillers. I can't see it any other way.
You've got your Democrats, you've got your Republicans, and then you have this group in the middle.
Right.
And this group in the middle actually is starting to carry a lot of power,
Yes,
because basically what they're saying is, it doesn't make any difference what side of the aisle you're on. I'm looking for the best candidate that actually makes a connection with me, and that's where we're going.
And that's what it should be.
In most communities, that's the case. Here in the Antelope Valley, most of the people in the middle are declined estates, are independents, who are actually Democrats that moved to declined estate because they could not achieve success, whether in business or politics, being labeled as a Democrat. So what we're going to see here in the Antelope Valley, when we see that middle gray area of independent voters or declined estates, those were closet Democrats. Mayor Ledford was a Democrat, changed over to Republican. Steve Fox was a Republican, changed over to Democrat. And it's about embracing the values of the community as opposed to your personal agenda. For a long time, the GOP was able to run their personal agenda. It has to do with money. The two cities here combined would be probably the 8th largest city in the county if they combined into two cities. So we have that dynamic working for us, and we have the only flat land left in California. So, here in the Antelope Valley, it's money. It's valuable. Land, property, being here in the Antelope Valley is very valuable. And the GOP, I think, has not embraced the fact that when we moved a diverse community up here as we've grown, that they also need to grow. And that's unfortunate. I think we will see more people who are declined estates or independents or closet Democrats start to emerge, using the shoulders of Senator Fox to move up. I look forward to taking a Senate seat. I look at Buck has the first challenge in 20 years that's coming against him. And then locally, as we try to maneuver things around and move them into districts, I'm hoping that we will get leadership that reflects the east side of town, that reflects the south part of the valley, that reflects that we have actually people of color on the west side.
I live there.
There you go. There you go. We're just about out of time. Darren, I want to thank you for being here today. I'd love to have you back on, because we got a lot of stuff we could talk about. We really could. This is just multiple chapters. I also want to mention, though, that this weekend, it's actually tomorrow, there's a free legal aid clinic that's happening here in the Antelope Valley. It's going to take place at Desert Christian, and the address over there is on 15th Street West. If you need legal help and you need to meet with attorneys, you need some help, all you have to do is go there. You must RSVP, though, and it takes place tomorrow. It's Saturday at Desert Christian, and it's from 12 to 4. And the terrible thing is, I'd love to give you a phone number to RSVP. Oh, I do have it. The phone number is 323-319-3559. Okay? Darren, thanks for taking the time to join us.
Anytime.
Okay, it was great. I'd love to bring you back on. And don't forget, when you walk out of our studio, you got to go next door and see Rex Perez.
I have to go see Rex.
Okay.
But it's a pleasure now. Rex and I actually were on the newspaper, and we both were smiling. So that's very interesting.
That's a good thing.
On the same page, we were smiling.
You see, things all come together.
All things with good times.
Thanks for listening today, and thanks for making AVNewsCast the #1 news talk radio program in the Antelope Valley. Have a really great and safe week, and we'll be back on Monday.
The following was a sponsored program. High Desert Broadcasting is not responsible for the views or claims expressed in the previous program.